How's it going, everybody? It's been a while since I made a video, I know, but I think people are feeling somewhat similarly with the game as I have for a while now. But nevertheless, never hurts to check patch notes for the upcoming season. I'm also certain many of you have seen all the Highlander rework is so crazy, come watch me, how insane it is kind of videos. I don't even know who I'm imitating here, but never mind. So, no Highlander and no Lawbringer talk from me in this video. We'll analyze those when we get our hands on them. Instead, we're going to look at the character-specific changes. Some of these have been long overdue, others are highly questionable. Let's start with the guy that has escaped the nerfs for way too long, Medjay and the nerfs to his staff stance. Nothing really out of the ordinary. The chain heavies had their damage reduced to 28 on all sides, and the finisher heavies now do 30 on all sides, nerfed by 2 and 4 respectively. Since Magi has his innate damage buff via his feats, this change was more than needed, but it's also far from low damage now. And then adjusted trajectories for all staff attacks basically, lights at heavies and the zone attack. Many gifts exist for his insane hitboxes, so this isn't really a surprise either. Ubisoft has also gotten quite good at matching weapon visuals with the actual hitboxes, so in this case I'm confident this will be a solid change and not a massive overnerf. We'll look at those in great detail once we get our hands on the adjusted versions. What I am surprised about is that we saw no compensation buffs to Axe. Axe mode is not as bad as people make it out to be, but it's also not some sensational 1v1 tool. Magi isn't out of the meta with this, but he also won't wear the crown of 4v4 any longer. Some might argue that he's given up that role a while ago. Let's hope Axe sees some love in the near future after Ubisoft has made sure staff is in a good spot. Moving on, Pirate. I've predicted a while ago that she won't see changes because of the possible backlash from the community. Guess Ubisoft doesn't care after all, so here we are, Pirate buffs. Not that these are undeserved, but I don't see them being received all that well. Just as a quick summary why I think that. At the top, Pirate was kind of bad. Her offense was considered reactable, her damage low, and the amount of revenge she fed, or rather still feeds, is quite insane, particularly the gunshot. So, damage of her heavy finisher went up to 24. That's low for a finisher, but remember that you always get the gunshot. That guaranteed gunshot had its recovery reduced by 100 ms and the pin duration increased by 33 ms. Reason for that was that you were frame negative if you did the gunshot, but positive when you didn't, at least after Walk the Plank. You traded damage for frame advantage. Some might consider this a good interaction, but others, who have no clue about the intricacies here, might find it confusing. Now you should always be frame positive after doing your gunshot. And you don't even need to reload. You know, what a tragedy. The non-guaranteed pistol blast recovering 33 ms faster as well. I'm not 100% sure what specific interaction this fixes, but I'll figure it out and show it to you next week. Then forward dodge heavy changes. This move was advertised as her opener when she released, but last frame parries beating the mix-up and it having a very distinct animation made the move almost impossible to use against reaction gremlins. So they're speeding it up by 100 ms and having the hyper armor start ever so slightly earlier. I'll talk to some of the top reaction guys and see what their verdict here is. Now, the last change is the questionable one. First of all, the dodge attack was nerfed shortly after release. But not the strong part, but the speed of it. Whether a dodge attack is 600 or 533, in my eyes makes no difference. You either predicted it and parried it on the reaction, or you ate it. There's no in between. The annoying part is the range, the hitbox, and the recovery cancel on it. None of this was touched. I'm not saying it should have been, but the speed shouldn't have been touched either. That much I can say for sure. This is a useless change with pretty much no impact whatsoever. Then moving on to Orochi. First 3 changes are to address the ridiculous ganks with Storm Rush. Not everybody has experienced them, but believe me, those were some of the most retarded ones this game has ever seen. Since I assumed that fixing the pin affecting other pins was hard to fix, we'll see revenge increase eventually, it's good to see that Ubisoft managed to fix it in this manner. It's a great fix, way too late, but thank God it's gone. Now, last change, increase in damage. I understand that this was done to compensate for the loss of the guaranteed light. My question is, why? There was zero reason to increase the damage. Let me explain. Stormrush has such innate problems at the lower levels. Not even lower levels. I assume 95% of players can't react to the indicator, and only a tiny fraction of the player base can claim they can react to the full mix-up, or even semi-consistently react to it. I'm not claiming that not being able to react is per se a problem, but the whole thing should have been used as an opportunity to address this problem. Stormrush is not healthy. I've said this multiple times in the past, that the ganks with it are beyond stupid. And it's just as stupid to have this multi-layer mix-up that loops into itself at the lower levels. The move is special, like unique animation, lots of properties and all. But it's also a massive source of frustration for a large portion of the player base. And that should be a sign that something is wrong. I'm also not claiming that I know how to fix it, but increasing its damage certainly wasn't the way to go here. Then Hitokiri's own attack stamina changes that should have happened with her rework, like, I don't know, how many, 3 years ago? Nothing more to say here really. But to finish this video, let's very briefly talk about the reflex guard removal. I didn't expect it, but JC explained that they've been working on this for quite a while now, and have been adjusting the guard stances with mocap and all that. But since it's here now, let me give you my 2 cents. With the removal of guard on dodge, but assassins having a deflect, this now de facto makes assassin guard the strongest guard. You have the extra defense during dodge, and the chance for massive damage with the deflect move. So you want to play one of these heroes now, because you have a slightly better defense now. The next point I want to bring up is Berserker, because Berserker will be the new king in 4v4 modes. The new must pick. All his previous buffs, like increasing his HP to 130, his new recovery cancels, the nerf to everyone else's dodge attack, his dodge attack being undodgeable, the insane hitbox on it, then his side dodge distance. He'll be even stronger now because he has a better guard. This might be a small change in many people's eyes, but those are sometimes enough to elevate somebody to the very top. So be prepared for more Berserker, and you might have guessed it as well, gonna see way more Orochi. So all in all, the patch is a mixed bag. Some long-awaited changes are in there, but also some changes that feel tacked on because Ubisoft thought otherwise it would be perceived as over-nerfing a character. How about we just stick to the issues? Let's leave it at that. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want tested next Thursday. I'll put it on the list. Having said that, hope the video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.